Welcome to the Post Up. This is your new weekly NBA show coming out of the GoldBoys Sports Network, where three friends cover everything from the association. Sorry about last week, no episode. Dylan has frog wireless, and it absolutely destroyed. We had a very good episode going, probably our best one ever. I thought it was phenomenal, and it was destroyed about 45 minutes in. Dolan and I decided to keep going with the episode. Come to find out later that after an hour and 40 minutes of recording, was going to be an hour 20 show. Can't use any of it. That's on us. We will be better. Starting this week, we are going to be better. My name is Michael Willis at Carefree Willis on Twitter. I am joined, as always, by first and foremost main man at Ryan Props with a fucking Z on Twitter. Ryan, what's up, dude?
What's going on, fellas? Crazy shit we saw yesterday. I can't wait to talk about it.
I just called you Ryan. I don't call him Ryan. I call him Dolan.
It almost threw me off.
Who the heck is Ryan?
Yeah, for sure, dude. That man you just heard is absolutely buzzing right now from that Celtics Derek White tip in last night at Dillbon00 on Twitter. Resident Celtics fan. Dylan, what's up, dude?
What's up, dude? Just watch Dolan's cat knock over his mic.
Love it.
Freaking on a high right now. Wait until tomorrow. Excited for tomorrow, or very unexcited, depending how it goes. But I'm doing all right. Happy almost Memorial Day.
Yeah, let's before we get into the Celtics and Heat game, let's cover what we were going to cover last week. Nuggets and Lakers real quick. Nuggets move on, boys. How are we feeling about a Lakers LeBron possible going to retire? It was a lot of talk of LeBron getting swept, and then he flipped it 180 on us, Dylan. Like you said last night, came out with might retire. Got a lot of things to think about. What do you think about that, Dylan?
Can't hate him for it. You know, it's a topic, and I tell you what, no one was talking about him getting swept after it, and I think that was his intentions there. No chance he's retiring. No way.
You think, Dolan, you think no chance he retires?
No chance. No chance.
I think there's a chance. I think there's a small chance. After the whole quote came out about it not being his son's, I don't remember the exact quote, but it wasn't his son's ambition to play with him, even though it was his.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he said, you know what, fuck it. He's got a sweet new movie coming out. I think it's on Peacock. It's about him and his buddies from St. Vincent, St. Mary's, and their come up and how hard it was at that high school. That's going to be sweet. Have you guys seen that trailer?
I didn't even know that was a thing. I had no idea that was happening. Yeah, Dylan, you knew about this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen a trailer for it a couple times. Looks pretty good.
This is news to me. That's pretty cool. I look forward to seeing it.
Yeah, it's going to be sweet.
You see some dude wearing the Fighting Irish 23 jersey he's wearing.
I guarantee it's going to be awful. I'm almost 100%.
Not expecting anything.
Yeah, I mean, I can almost guarantee it's going to be a terrible. I mean, how bad could it have been at St. Vincent, St. Mary's? I can't imagine that bad. Was it a private? Is it a private school? I'll shut the fuck up. I mean, I don't know anything.
I don't know. We could cover that in a few weeks when it comes out.
We definitely
we'll watch the movie together.
Tune back in. It's right. Tune back in. We'll have a deep dive on this movie coming out on Peacock. Let's talk about the Nuggets though, because that's really what we should be talking about. Nuggets fucking good, huh?
Yeah, man. Doubted them a lot of the postseason. Finally jumped on the train last series and picked them to beat the Lakers. I did not pick them in 4, but I did pick them, and there was really no looking back. I mean, we really might. This might be. We might be starting to see the tides change a little bit as far as best player in the NBA, and it kills me to say it because I mean, anytime Jokic does something good, it seems to bring a black cloud above Embiid, which is kind of funky to think about. But I mean, I think that debate after what we've been seeing is completely dead, and that really kills my soul to say that. But I mean, Jokic has to be approaching best player in the league territory, and if he could pull this off, even with the help of Murray, we might have a hell of a conversation on our hands for this offseason.
Appreciate the honesty, dude. I mean, that's That's what we're here for, man. This show's all about honesty, and we appreciate that honesty.
Yeah, just don't look at my eyes that are tearing up as I'm saying this.
Yeah, I mean, Dylan's been probably the only person I know that's been on the Nuggets since day one. I took Lakers in 5. Hilarious.
Yikes.
Dylan, what do you yikes? Dylan, what do you stoked on your boys in Denver? And then how do you feel? We'll go into predictions later. How do you feel about the Nuggets getting all the way to the NBA Finals? First time in franchise history. Good for them.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much obviously I was picking the Celtics to win it all, but if I had to pick another team to do it, it would be the Nuggets. And since I'd say maybe like February, I just had since once they started taking that slow dive towards the end of the season, that's when I was like, yep, they don't care about the regular season. They're going for the playoffs, and I think they're going to be different. And as usual, I was right. So no surprises here. But
shut up.
I mean, honestly, Jokic, it's very, very impressive to see a center dominate the game in so many ways, and he doesn't even play defense. So it's impressive how well you can dominate a game without playing defense.
Yeah, it's outrageous. I'm sitting here looking at his numbers from that series, and he averaged 28 points, 14 and a half rebounds, and 12 assists.
That's insane. That's insane numbers, and it's so impressive.
His over under points was consistently at 29. Hilariously, if he averaged 28, his unders would have hit. But if you listen to the show, you know that I took his unders twice, and neither one of those times hit. Phenomenal stuff.
That's what cost us a post up parlay at one point.
100%, 100%. Which we will be dropping one of those today, and it's gonna be the best one yet. We've been very close to these post up parlays, and you know, this Jokic, this is on me. I mean, I've definitely not been a Nugget supporter. I did take him to win against the Timberwolves. I thought Phoenix was going to beat the doors off of the Nuggets. Did not happen.
What an idiot.
What an absolute idiot. Yeah, you too.
I did too. Yeah, I did too. I didn't have much doubt that Phoenix was going to handle that series. So
good for Denver.
Tip cap to the Nuggets.
Good for Denver. Jamal Murray becoming that guy. I brought it up the last episode that probably a lot of other guards in the West you'd take over Jamal Murray, and he's outlasting all of them. A lot of that to do with Jokic, but this Denver team is a good team. And I saw a clip the other day. I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but we're in this social media age and all that, and the internet age, and the only fucking thing we know about this guy is that he likes horses, and that's the funniest fucking thing in the world. I think that's so awesome. We don't know anything about this dude other than he likes horses. That is,
and he was drafted during a Taco Bell commercial.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it, dude. You guys see the picture when he was a kid?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Oh,
awesome. Yeah. Such a legendary photo.
So awesome. So great. Let's move away from congrats to Denver making it all the way. I owe Dylan a steak dinner at Golden Corral. It's going to be phenomenal. Follow us on
grab the keys.
That's right, baby. Follow us on at the Post Up Boys too. I'll send out some pictures of me and Dylan at our nice fancy steak dinner.
If he ever steps up and takes them.
Yeah, exactly. I've been ducking him. Let's move on. Let's move away from this Western Conference. Let's talk about what everybody's here for. The Pistons get absolutely fucking robbed from the lottery. I mean, some unbelievable stuff here. The Pistons are the worst team in the league, I think, by 3 or 4 games, and no projected first overall team has ever fallen this far in the draft. Pistons are the very first to fall this far, all the way to 5. I mean, I said it before, last week. I said, only thing I don't want is to fall out of the top 3. And I had supreme confidence there's no chance that's going to happen. But I did say I don't think we're getting number 1. I think San Antonio was hard to say this shit's not rigged. Hard to say this shit's not rigged when you've got Nicholas Batum, Boris Diaw, Tony Parker, all old Spurs. All of France loves the Spurs, and now they got, the young heads with Victor. Congrats to the Spurs. They're going to get Victor Wembanyama. He's going to be around for like 20 years. Might get hurt, might turn into Zion, might not. Pistons probably going to draft a future Hall of Famer. Let's move on, boys.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
Confidence, yeah. Michael. Like the confidence.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, we touched on that Lotto a little bit more in depth last week's pseudo episode that never actually came.
Yeah.
We're good. We could just go ahead and glaze over that. I mean, we've already proven that the Lotto's rigged. So
yeah, it's
move on.
Yeah, phenomenal stuff. Absolutely phenomenal. It's taken 2 weeks. I mean, I'm kind of over it now. So I don't know. Wow. The league hates Detroit, and that's, fair enough. We're going to be so fucking good next year when Cade comes back. Let's move on to Boston. It might win the whole fucking thing next year. Let's move on to Boston
Yeah.
and
Just
Miami.
might, dude. They just might.
Yeah, just might. I don't see why not. I'll tell you that. Boston, Miami, the series that I said this. I think I said it in last episode that obviously did not come out. I have been a Heat hater for a while now, and this team has been very impressive, going up 3-0, and then Boston came all the way back. Dylan, how were you feeling at 3-0 down?
Well, it's pretty funny. Last Sunday when we were recording, I was currently watching the Celtics getting stomped in Game 3.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I've gone a long way in 1 week, but like I'm not gonna say that I knew they were gonna come back from 3-0, but I did say, and I've been like mentioning this whole time to anyone who would listen to me talk. If it was a scenario where the coming back from 3-0 was going to happen, it was going to be this, because two teams that like there's a 13 game difference in their standings. Like the Celtics are clearly more talented than the Heat. One team was playing out of their minds, the other team was playing like garbage, and eventually you think that would level out, and it kind of did. Some miracles happened last night to keep the series alive, but I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in Game 7. This series has been such a freaking toss up. Who knows? But I can't imagine. I'd be very upset the Celtics came all this way to lose in Game 7 in TD Garden. But it's been a fun series. One of my good friends is a Heat fan, and I texted him yesterday talking about just how crazy it was, and he just started freaking crying, making all the excuses. And freaking Tayshawn, I was like, "Hey
Yeah,
man,
I was about to say we can name drop on this show.
yeah, I just wanted to talk about how crazy this is, man. I didn't want to hear your excuses. You didn't hear my excuses when the Celtics were down 3-0, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Tayshawn and I have a dinner for that one too. So,
Why do you think? How do you think Boston was able to get back into this game, man? Into the series. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think that this team, ever since like these last 2 seasons, they've been a team that has not handled prosperity well and has always handled when it gets hard. You know, it's just that's how it's been. Like All-Star break last year, they were 10th in the East, and then they end up being second. So, and they just like in the thing yesterday, in the last season, and then they're even like the Hawk series, they were, what are you doing, Dolan? The Hawk series, they should have handled them. They didn't. The Sixers are garbage and should have handled them, and they went 7 when it shouldn't have. I was talking to Dolan yesterday. He said he blocked that series out of his mind. So he
I don't even know what series you're referring to.
Yeah. But then the Heat come, the 8 seed, and they're down 3-0, and then they win 3 straight. Hopefully 4, but we'll see. I mean, it's been absurd, honestly.
Joe Mazzulla get any credit for this?
Absolutely.
Great question.
I mean, Michael, you mentioned this before in the show. It's like at the end of the day, the players are the one are the making and missing shots, you know? So it's like in today's NBA, I think it's so much more player driven than it has been in the past, but he's got to have some credit. Like if one thing, he's calling timeouts now and like phenomenally, which he hasn't been doing all season. And that just like every time he's called a timeout, it's been like on a random 4-0 run. Just like, but you can tell something was building for the Heat, and he called a timeout, and then it ended it the last 3 games. So he deserves some credit. Doesn't deserve all the credit. I think these players just have lackadaisical mindsets where it just like they sometimes are in it and sometimes they aren't, honestly. And even Jaylen Brown was on TNT after the game yesterday, and they asked him like, because they blew the 10-point lead, because they always blow leads. They asked him, it's like, why do y'all do that? And he was like, I don't really know. I guess we just do. So it's just like,
good answer.
Yeah, it's interesting. Their whole, like it said, like Charles said, that you've never seen a team that has so many hills and valleys like the Celtics do.
Man,
and
that's
like,
a fact. This is the hottest and coldest team you could ever imagine.
Yeah, but it's like looking at, like you said, they went to the finals last year and they only got better compared to last year. So they should, in theory, go to the finals again, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Dolan, thoughts on this whole, Miami go up 3-0 in the series. Jimmy Butler, everybody's talking about how he's the GOAT, and fucking 3 games later, everyone's talking about Jimmy Butler's gone missing, putting out wanted signs for him and shit like that. What do you think about Miami going up 3-0 and then Boston storming all the way back? And do you think that Joe Mazzulla should get more credit? Do you think he's out coaching Spo? Is that how this is going, or is this like this just a good series?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go quite that far, but I definitely got to give him his flowers. I think he's done a good job. It's just situational awareness seems to, I'm not going to say improved because it's hard to imagine it would improve, but I mean he's stepping up and doing what he needs to do. When it needs to be done. I think the starting Derek White was a really nice move, and him being on the floor apparently, especially at the end of games, is quite a good thing. But I mean, all in all, I just think
You ain't kidding.
the level of talent is just rising to the top. I mean, not to guarantee a win or anything next game, but I mean, the talent differential here is just absolutely absurd. I mean, behind Butler, who has been pretty awful the last few games. Their next leading scorer it's not even Bam.
It's Caleb Martin.
It's Caleb Martin, and then after that is Gabe Vincent, who missed a key game in the series as well. I mean, no disrespect obviously at all to Caleb Martin and Gabe Vincent, but you look at the Celtics roster. I mean, their number two scorer is their number two scorer. It's Jaylen Brown, and not that he's been great this series, but I just think the talent differential is going to make its impact on the series eventually. And yeah, we're just experiencing that right now, and they're just a vastly more talented team. Deeper is an interesting thing to consider. They might not necessarily be deeper, but I mean, no question, they have way better team overall.
I don't know. I think with the depth, like Kyle Lowry has been pretty horrible. And the only person off the bench who has done anything besides the 13 points Kyle Lowry did, I think in game one, has been Duncan Robinson, who's been good.
Yeah.
Give him some credit, but it's just like Malcolm Brogdon really hasn't shown up this series, but he's obviously hurt his forearm.
Yeah, I've been disappointed in Strus. Strus hasn't done much. Robinson stepped up a bit.
Robinson's played well.
I think Robinson's playmaking has been one of the more, I guess, just unexpected things from the series. I'm super impressed with his passing. I mean, he is turning it over at a fairly high rate as well. But oh no, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong stat. He's barely turning it over, so good for him. But he's averaging 3 assists a game in 18 minutes, and it's never really something I remember seeing in his game. And these aren't really fluke assists. I've seen him make really nice passes on, in really big moments. So credit to him. He's putting up almost 12 points a game in 18 minutes. And meanwhile, Max Strus is just really not doing a whole hell of a lot. So, they really needed Duncan to step up. Strus is only knocking down 34% of his threes, and he plays a good amount of minutes. They need him to be launching and, of course, making, but he doesn't really seem to want to be aggressive. And with that, his numbers are suffering pretty bad. So Duncan's been a huge factor in this series. And obviously Caleb Martin, he started last game, but he's been their second best player. I mean, he's just been
arguably best player, most consistent. At least he's definitely been their most consistent player. He's been balling, well, dude.
That's a fact. He's played well pretty much every game.
It's so frustrating watching him see these crazy shots. Like, who are you, man? Like, jeez, what are you doing?
Shout out to him, man.
Duncan Robinson cannot play defense. I mean, that is something that we found out. We found out before this, but I mean, he's not very good at defense. And the lights got a little bright there at the end for him. Could have made two. We'll talk about this game from last night, Saturday. You're listening to this on Monday from Saturday night.
Yeah, you're right.
What's today? Sunday? Yeah, today's Sunday.
Today's Sunday.
Talk about the last game. I got myself all mixed up. That's on me. We'll talk about the game that became the buzzer beater to send this to Game 7. Game pretty much, I felt, dominated by Boston through three quarters. Felt like they were complete control. Jimmy Butler not doing anything. Bam Adebayo not doing anything. I'll say this: there's a lot of I don't want to turn everything back to Detroit, but there's a lot of Pistons fans that want to trade for Bam. No, thank you. Keep that guy.
16 last game. What are you doing? Missing 12 of your 16 shots,
dude.
What are you doing, man?
There was a point where Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo were combined like 7 of 35. Just no, thank you. I said this to Dylan a little while ago, but this is way easier said than done. But it felt like in this game that the Celtics were giving Jimmy Butler these midi pull-ups, and it's a hard shot to take, but he just doesn't take them. He just continues to drive into three people, is what it felt like that whole game. But Boston dominated.
Pump fake 4 times.
Yeah, for sure. Boston dominated the majority of that game, and then you start seeing Miami storm back possible referee issues. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But Miami stormed back into this. Dylan, how are you feeling when Al Horford fucked up at the end and gave Jimmy Butler 3 free throws?
I thought the game was done. Like, I was hoping he was going to miss one of them, but I didn't think so. I mean, if you look back, like, if you take out Bam and Jimmy, obviously they're the stars, every other Heat player dominated. Like, they played so well. They shot 46% from 3, and the Celtics shot like 20%. Literally their worst game all season. They had no business winning that game, but because the star Jimmy Butler showed up the last 4 minutes of the game, he finally started doing something.
He made his free throws when he needed to.
Yeah. And it was I said when that happened, he made the three. Obviously, there was still 3 seconds left. I really was expecting that, like, the play that Joe Mazzulla wrote up every like last second shot opportunity in the regular season, where Tatum starts on the other side of the court. I don't know if you remember when Tatum hit the game winner against the Sixers, Dolan.
No.
The three towards you don't remember that? Of course not. I honestly was expecting that play to get drawn up when they inbound it to Smart, and Smart passes to Tatum as he's like running to the hoop full speed with 3 seconds left. But they denied ball to Jalen and to Tatum, and then you guys know what happened the rest of the way.
I felt that was very good deep. Before we get into Derek White, I felt that it was very good defense by Miami. I mean, you put it in the guy's hands if you're Miami that you want. You put it in Marcus Smart's hands to shoot that game-winning three. That was solid work by Miami. This thing almost went in, though, to Marcus Smart's credit.
It
I
did.
mean,
it did almost go.
Clunked out. And then, Dolan, what happened next, dude?
Man, Derek White is 6'4", 190 pounds, but somehow this guy, I mean, not to say he's like a great rebounder or anything, but like he just plays big, man. Just what a timely play. I mean, this is especially if they go on and actually pull this off and win it all. I mean, this will be something that I remember forever, and I think a lot of NBA fans will. I mean, I'm not going to put it quite on like the Ray Allen shot level with the Heat, because that came in the finals. It's not quite to that level, but it's also not like terribly far off. Like I said, especially if they go on and win. I mean, this is like a historic shot. It was so cool to see live, even though I was cheering for the Heat. How could you be mad? I mean, I wasn't that passionately cheering for the Heat. I would just rather them win, but. I mean, this is something that I'll remember for a long time, especially if they go ahead and pull this all off. So, credit to White. I mean, he's a great shot blocker somehow at 6'4".
He clamped Jimmy last game. Golly, if you look at his numbers when he was guarding Jimmy, it was crazy.
Yeah, so he's just one of those guys that plays a little bit bigger than he is. So super impressed. I've always been a fan dating back to the San Antonio days. He was backcourt mates with DeJounte Murray, and I thought he was pretty damn good. I remember when the Celtics got him and thinking, motherfucker, why can't we get something like that? But just not surprised. He's just a good player, man.
He is good
player.
Dylan, if you guys don't know, Dylan has a 1-year-old daughter who was absolutely asleep at this time. Dylan, how hard was it to not explode in your house when?
Dude,
first off, what was your thoughts when Marcus Smart was taking that three, and then what happened 2 seconds later?
No, so Marcus Smart was the only player to make threes in that game. I think he shot 4 for 6 from threes. He's the only one.
He made 4 of the 7.
Yeah, it was absurd. And then Derek White had 2 of them. 3. Okay,
they had the other one.
That's crazy. But one thing that, like, he shot it, like you said, it was at the point where I thought either we can make some dribbles or do something, but they got it up quick. And if you look at the replay, I've watched it probably 100 times since yesterday and today, but there's no Heat player. And like you see Derek White right there. There's no Heat player. Tatum has the entire other side of the basket ready for a tip in. So it's like,
yeah.
He was there too. So it's like, I don't know if the Heat gave up. And I was trying to think, like, if I was in that scenario, granted, I don't get paid to play basketball, I would just sit there and be in awe watching that ball. I would not crash the boards. I'd just be like, oh my God, is this over or not?
If I was Derek White, if like we had switched like that, because if you go on to our Twitter at the Post Up Boys, I've put it up on there. You can see the whole video, the inbound Marcus Smart, and then Derek White. There's a moment where that lane for Derek White is completely wide open.
If
I'm Derek White,
too, just like Dylan was saying.
Yeah.
If I'm Derek White, I promise I know who I am. I'm standing watching that fucking thing go up. There's no chance I'm running that thing. That's why he's the pro and I'm not. But Dolan, go ahead.
One weird note about this play, something that I noticed as I watched a couple of times over is Tatum had a really decent chance of fucking this up and getting in White's way, and he somehow recognized, like, in that moment, in that split second, he somehow recognized that he needed to pull his left arm away from the situation, let White take it. That's fucking brilliant shit, dude. That is brilliant. I mean, he could have easily tipped that out of White's hands and they're sent home. So, weird credit to Tatum for just, I don't know how you're that aware in that situation with that much pressure on you, but shout out to him.
As soon as it went in, there was a moment of pause. Everybody, the stadium erupted a bit because they thought he hadn't gotten it off. When I watched it live, I felt He got that 100%. I felt
I didn't think he did, but I was watching it on a phone. It's my
you do everything on your phone.
He does his iPhone 5. It's unbelievable stuff. The
me and
announcers,
5 friends were crowded around one phone in a garage watching this. That's how we saw this game winner.
the announcers were going off that he didn't get it off, and it was very clear on the very first replay that this motherfucker got it off with point something seconds to spare too. So, I mean, shout out Derek White, man. I mean, what a fucking moment! As soon as it went, did you see Jaylen Brown just freeze, just stunned? He didn't even celebrate. He was just stunned at what had just happened. Shout out Game 7. The best 2 words in sports. Cannot wait for that. I mean, this is gonna be a pretty electric series. Like Dylan said, though, how much would this suck, man, if you did all this work and then you lost in Game 7 at home too?
I mean, it would suck a lot. I'm almost expecting it, honestly, just because it just is almost poetic for it to happen. But one thing, a small interesting stat is the first time ever Game 7 for the team that's been down 0-3 has been at home. So every other scenario, it's been the lower seed to come back. In this scenario, it's the higher seed to come back from being 0-3. So I think that's a little interesting asterisk in this history-making potential thing here. But cannot wait till 8:30 tomorrow. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, no shit.
Right, so you guys will listen to this probably before or listen to it during that game tomorrow, Monday, when this drops. Let's go through it. What we think is going to happen tomorrow, boys. I'll give you my prediction first. I'm going to go. Damn. I'm going to go Boston. I think Boston pulled this one off. Get this thing back to the Garden and get a win.
Dylan.
I mean, I got to pick Boston. I think Boston wins. I think Tatum has. I'm predicting either over 50 or a triple double. One of those 2 things is going to happen tomorrow for Tatum.
Damn.
But
good
deal. I think the Celtics win.
Fucking Heat, baby.
All right, let's get it. Let's get
hot in here, dude. It's going to be crazy. They're going to bounce back. I think, if there was probably any other coach in the league that just dealt with what he just dealt with, I would have picked against him 100 times out of 100. And somehow I just feel like Spoelstra is going to have this team so ready. And they have the kind of guys that, Sixers, if this happened to the Sixers, man, they might not score 40 points the next game because they are all I'll have to say some shit, but let me just move on real quick. But, the Heat I feel like they're the kind of roster, and definitely they have the leadership that they really, I feel like they could walk into the next game rather unfazed. Somehow, it ain't for me. I would be my hands would be shaking. I know my Sixers players, all of them would be so shook. But I just feel like there's something a little different about this Heat team, and obviously it's what's gotten them this far. I think they can come out and pull this off, and they're plus 245 to win on pretty much any book you look around, and I'm sure that price varies a little bit, but it's kind of crazy. I think I gotta.
The Heat are plus 245 to win.
Yeah, I gotta put a few bucks on that.
Yeah, I'll put what the kids say, some little pizza money on that bad boy right there.
Boy.
All right, yeah, let's go into Post Up Parlay for tomorrow. Who wants to start? I know
you
what
go
I
first,
got.
Michael. You go first.
I know what I got. I'm gonna take. I will say this: it's harder and harder when you get to these one-off games or get to these playoff games because these teams know each other so well by now. I'm gonna take Al Horford over boards. He got 7, or I think he's at 7 right now. He got 11 and he got 9 the last 2 games. So give me Horford boards.
Nice, Dylan. Go ahead, man.
No, you go.
Okay, so I'm gonna stick with a pretty chalky pick here. I'm gonna take Tatum over 30.5. I'd imagine this will jump in between 30.5 and 31.5. I'll just take either. Man's gonna play 48 minutes. Man, he's gonna take every damn shot that he can find. I went and looked at the Sixers series that I forgot existed, and I found out that he played pretty well in that Game 7. So I wouldn't be too surprised if he does it again. So I don't like taking point lines this high very often, but just situation calls for it. And yeah, give me Tatum, even if it's 31.5 by the time you guys are looking at it. I'm fine with that too.
Dylan, what do you got?
I'm gonna go, since both you guys are Celtics players, I'll go a Heat player. I'll go Duncan Robinson over 1.5 threes.
Yep.
Let me ask you guys a question, since all of us here are extreme high-level ballers. When Duncan Robinson caught that three, when he caught the ball to shoot that three at the end, but he took a dribble, did he fuck himself up? Did he fuck his rhythm up? Should he just have catched and shot? Did he take too long? Did he overthink it? The lights got massively bright in that moment. They were twice there. What do you think, boys? Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you remember that moment that I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, when I'm shooting, I'm more better than the catch and shoot. When I dribble, it throws me off. I think I don't have a problem with him taking time. The gather dribble was one thing. I was like, maybe don't do that. But I mean, you see it all the time. NBA players, when they get wide open shots, they just miss them. Like
You do.
elite players, sometimes they'll just
That's
miss
probably
them.
his first time being in that moment, right? Duncan Robinson.
I mean, he's played in some big games. So
Yeah, he's
I'm
played in
not
the
sure I can
finals.
go that far.
That's fair. That's fair. What's
but
the
yeah, I mean,
parlay altogether, Dolan?
Yeah, so if you parlay all of these, this will actually jump up, especially if Tatum is at 31.5, which I'm sure he will be by tomorrow. We got plus 465 right now on FanDuel. It'll probably be a little bit better tomorrow, assuming Tatum gets that 31.5 line. Yeah, plus 465 for the post up parlay.
Love it. If you play it with us, take a screenshot, send it to us on Twitter at the Post Up Boys. Use the hashtag Post Up Parlay. Let's win some fucking money.
Let's win some
what do you think, fellas?
Money, man.
Let's do it.
All right.
Amen.
All right. So I think it's going to be Boston. Dylan thinks it's going to be Boston. Dolan also feels no. Dolan does not. Dolan feels it's going to be Miami. Let's assume that all of that is correct. Dylan, Boston Nuggets finals. How you feeling about that potentially?
I think the Celtics, I mean, they match up well. I think the Celtics have not only the guard defense and the wing defense to really disrupt Jamal Murray, make his shots a lot harder because they're going to play the switch game. And I think any of the perimeter guys can guard Jamal Murray well. I mean, he's still going to get his. I think he's been elite this playoffs, but I think they could contain him. And a lot of times in the fourth quarter, he looks tired, noticeably tired. So I think that with second team all defense, Derek White, that last year's the defensive player of the year, Marcus Smart, and even Brogdon's a solid defender too, and he's strong. So I think that, and plus obviously Jalen and Tatum, I think that on the perimeter they're going to make his job harder. Jokic is going to get his, like only so much you can do with that. But I think that the Celtics have the matchup that favors them. So with that being said, I mean, Nuggets have had a month and a half off, it seems like. So, but I say Celtics in 7.
I appreciate that. When we get an official word of who's going to be in the final, we'll give our predictions. We'll put it up on the Twitter. Go follow at the Post Up Boys. We'll give all 3 of our official predictions.
Small thing: the Celtics will have home court if they play the Nuggets, even though the Nuggets are the 1 seed. Just in case you guys are wondering.
That's good to know. Don't want to put you on the spot. I'm gonna put you on the spot real quick. Give me both scenarios here. If Boston wins, how do they match up against the Nuggets? If Miami wins, how do they match up against the Nuggets? Like I said, I think it's gonna be Boston. I agree with Dylan. I think that Boston does match up very well with the Nuggets. I am going to take the Nuggets though, because I've been down on them the entire time of this playoffs, and they have done me so dirty. So I'm just going to jump on that train. Possibly one of those situations where you jump on the train too late. Dylan knows what I'm talking about, and you just get absolutely left behind like a dumbass. That could be this situation, but I believe I will be taking the Nuggets just because I do not see how Boston is going to stop Jokic. It's still that old KD Brooklyn thing. KD can get 50, but that's 110 points still beats 50 points. So who's going to step up? Of course, Jamal Murray's there, but like I said, I think that the Nuggets will they're going to take this thing home, and good for them. But Dolan, what do you think? Let's go with Boston first. How do you think Boston matches up against the Nuggets here?
Well, I agree with a lot of what Dylan said, but I also started thinking the opposite. And you got to start thinking like, how does Denver match up against Boston? So I think Aaron Gordon will defend Tatum, I'd imagine. Porter Jr. and or Bruce Brown can handle Jaylen Brown. So in that sense, I think they match up pretty well with Boston, as well. So I think they have guys that are pretty solid on the perimeter that can slow down. Never stop. I don't see anybody stopping anybody, but I think they can at least make life pretty difficult for Tatum. And, if Brown decides that he cares enough about basketball to try in the NBA finals, and I think they can make it pretty hard on him as well.
I think one thing on that note, the way the Celtics ball movement can be and the way they play 5 out is going to make Jokic work on defense.
That is
This
a
is gonna,
fact. That is going to be a huge factor. That might be the factor of the series is what the hell does he do on defense? What the hell does he do on defense? So yeah, that might be the single biggest question mark. If you look at Miami versus Denver, I'm not. I've probably said this about damn near every series except for the Knicks series, but I'm not sure it's close, man. I think the Nuggets handle Miami pretty fucking easily.
I agree.
But they've humbled me a few times already. So, like Michael said, sometimes you look like a dumbass and you're left behind. But I'm going to go ahead and I'll just state my thoughts here. I'm picking Nuggets either way.
Okay. How many games for each?
I'm going to say Nuggets in 7 versus Boston. Nuggets in I can't say 5. It's the finals. I don't think the NBA would even want that, but I'll say Nuggets in 6 versus the Heat. Nuggets in 7 versus Boston.
I'll go. Like I said, it's not my official. I will with Boston. I will go Nuggets in 6 against Boston. You can lock me in right now. I promise you, I will play this. If it is Miami Heat, give me the Nuggets in 4. I just can't imagine Miami doing anything against this Nuggets team. Nuggets a very good team. I've been sleeping on this whole time. Like I said, I'm gonna jump on that train. Could be a situation where I jump on too late, but find out later on. I guess I don't know. That's life.
Yeah. Either way,
I didn't do my Heat prediction, so I'm gonna go. If Nuggets and Heat play, I'll go Nuggets in 5.
Dang, nice. I think it'll be super interesting. Somebody mentioned how long the Nuggets have been off and how battle tested both of, and probably tired, how both Heat and Celtics will be. Whichever one ends up making it. It's like, what is that going to look like? Are the Nuggets going to be rusty, and then the Celtics are going to be really fucking exhausted, or the Heat really exhausted? I think game 1, either team, it's going to be so interesting to see how the Nuggets can respond from such a long break. And then Boston and Miami, especially Boston, because they just had to go 7 the prior series, but they had to give every single thing they had to make it to the finals, and that goes for either team. So excited to kind of see how that goes. That'll be fun to see.
I think the finals start on June 1st, which is a Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday.
So the Nuggets will have gone an entire 10 days without playing a basketball game.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is a long bit of time. That isn't it. That does bring up an interesting topic. That's it. We'll move on. Very excited for the game tomorrow. Very excited to get this NBA Finals matchup set. We got a this or that?
Yeah.
Let's have it.
Start us off, Dylan.
Who's got this or that? I've got one, actually.
Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah. What was the bigger moment? Derek White's buzzer beater tip-in or Kawhi Leonard's last second shot?
Oh, Jesus. What the hell are we talking about?
That's a joke. This is not. It's obviously Kawhi. It's obviously Kawhi because he won the game, but I want Dylan to talk about it. Go ahead, Dylan. What do you got for this or that?
I ain't talking about shit.
Alrighty. We did this briefly last week, but obviously we didn't record. So for all of our listeners, would you rather have Doc Rivers as your head coach or James Harden as your one of your top players?
Dolan, you go first.
That's so funny because I don't really even remember what I said last week. This question's a lot harder this week for me for some reason than it was last week. I think I'm going to go Doc Rivers because at least he can at least there will be players that are on the floor that will kind of control his fate rather than James Harden. I've seen enough, man. That guy he's just not a winner, man. That dude loves choking so much. Peanut butter and jelly and James Harden and choking. It's such a duo, and you cannot break these two apart. You cannot do it. I remember all the way back. I was actually kind of like a low key Thunder fan back in Durant, Westbrook, Harden days. I remember watching Harden in the postseason at the time, and just at the time it felt like he was so unlucky because all these shots kept rimming out and rimming out and rimming out. It's just like, man, this poor fella. And then 13 years has gone by, and he just lives and breathes just shitting the bed in the playoffs and in big games. So fun stuff, man. Good for that guy. I'm kind of ready to move on from him being a Sixer, and at least with if Doc Rivers is your coach, hopefully you have some players that can step up and go win you some games. If you have James Harden as your point guard, I just think you're doomed. Just what it feels like at this point. So if 2 months from now comes out and the Sixers sign him to a 4-year deal, there ought to be a lot of pointing and laughing at me. I might even point and laugh at myself a little bit because I will not be happy at all about that.
My James Harden 4-year deal and Mike D'Antoni incoming. Can't wait to see Mike D'Antoni and Joel Embiid just fucking getting it together. That's a match made in heaven. I love that, man. Can't wait. Give me Doc Rivers as well. I want to go against you, but I think James Harden's best days are done. He's like Dylan said, he's a certified shitter of the bed. I mean, he is not going to get you over the hump. I mean, how many opportunities this guy had? How many different stars? And you could put Chris Paul possibly in that category. I don't know if I will, but I mean, guys had multiple different guys beside him that he played with Dwight Howard when Dwight Howard was a fucking guy. Chris Paul was there. Russ was there. He's had KD and Russ when they were young and then the Thunder, and he's got Joel now. I don't know, man. I'm just not a big James Harden guy anymore. I think he just loves getting high and going to strip clubs. Don't hate it.
Yeah, I mean, good on him.
Yeah, give me Doc Rivers.
Hurt.
All right. Next one I got is, you guys, this might refresh your memory when I start talking about it, but the last 5 number 1 overall picks, if you were to draft them, what order would you draft them in if they're all available this draft? So I'll read them off. We got Paolo Banchero, Cade Cunningham, Anthony Edwards, Zion, and DeAndre Ayton. If you were to if all of those are the top 5 prospects in this year's draft and you have number 1 pick, who are you going?
I'll go first. I'm a Pistons fan. I think extremely high at Cade. I do genuinely think that Cade has been slept on this year because he got injured at the beginning of the season. Love this guy so much. I genuinely think the Pistons are going to we're going to be into the play-in. I think that's as best we're going to get. It's not going to be anything ridiculous. You see how good Paolo is, and he only got the Nuggets like 6.
Magic.
Yeah, sorry, Magic, correct. He only got the Magic like 6 or 7 wins. I could be dead wrong on that. Must have to fact check me, but he did not get the Magic that many wins. I'm gonna go. I think most people are gonna pick Zion just because he's Zion, but Zion for me is probably 4th on this list because he doesn't play. He probably will go 3rd for most people because Cade didn't play for a whole year, and I get that. Ayton's last for me. Who is it again? It's Paolo, Cade. Who am I missing one? Ayton, Zion,
Edwards. That's Anthony right. Edwards.
I feel like it should be. I mean, Paolo's so good, man. I do think the guy is such a good player. I'd probably go Paolo, Ant. If I'm being realistic, it's probably going to be Zion after that, and then Cade, and then DeAndre Ayton. I do want to point out that Cade's missed an entire season. He's only had 2 years in the league, and he still played half the games Zion's played, which is, you take that what you will. I don't want Zion. I don't think this guy, he likes Bo-Bear biscuits. I love Bo-Bear biscuits. Shout out. We need to be fucking sponsored.
You want to sponsor us? That's fine.
Yeah, for sure. Those are fucking good biscuits. But yeah, give me, I think Paolo's so good. Dolan's probably going to go Ant-Man because he's got a hard on for Ant-Man, but who's also a very good player. But I'll give me Paolo, give me Ant, Zion, Cade, and then DeAndre Ayton. But I do want to say, give it 5 years. Cade's going to be a fucking stud. Go on, Dolan.
Yeah, I'm definitely going Anthony Edwards number 1 here. I really liked it that we got to see a little postseason action out of him. We got to see what he was really all about, and I always kind of suspected that he'd be the dog to step up in the postseason and really fuck shit up, and he really did. He was pretty awesome in the postseason. He's gonna be my number 1. I think that the talent is just so undeniable, and he's just such a difference maker. Every 5th game that he actually plays, but I have to go Zion too. I have to take my chances. He's still so young. Maybe unfortunately he could be one of those guys that's just injury riddled his whole career, and we never really get to see his full potential. But I think his full potential is worth the risk. So I'm going to take him number 2. I think it's kind of a toss up between Paolo and Cade, actually, which I think would be a surprise to Michael's ears. I will take Paolo, not by much, but I think availability is pretty significant ability at this point. And Cade's had his fair share of injuries early, and Paolo was able to stay on the floor, for his 1 year. So I'm not going to quite overreact about that, but that I think it's pretty close, and I'll take that slight edge and give it to Paolo. Cade, I am a fan of his game. I'll sit and trash him just because Michael's my friend, and I don't ever want him to be happy.
That's what friends are for.
Yeah.
And shit friends.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the goal. And DeAndre Ayton, especially after what we saw this year, is definitely my clear number 5.
Dylan, what's yours?
I would probably go Paolo 1, Ant, Zion, Cade, Ayton.
Yeah, nice.
Paolo's potential is just so high, and he has star potential just from seeing his rookie season. To me, I just too much there.
It's a what have you done for me lately league?
Yeah, face of the NBA potential there for me, but
Paolo, I don't know.
I don't know about all that, but interesting.
I don't know.
Damn,
I do like Paolo. I think he's a very good player. It's a what have you done for me lately league, and Dylan spot on. Ant has been, he jumped into that playoffs and was very good, but Paolo stayed on the. I think he's just got a little bit more for Ant than me, and I think Paolo likes basketball more than Ant does. So for that, give me, and that for me, it's a personal thing that means something to me. So give me Paolo. I like Paolo a lot, man. I think he's going to be a very good player. The Magic are in a very good spot.
Yep.
Shout out to them. Give it, like I said, though, give it 5 years. We might have a 3-time NBA champion, Cade Cunningham. I can't fucking wait.
Oh my gosh.
What's the next one, Dylan?
I literally just made this one up just now. Obviously, Carmelo Anthony retired officially, and I've been hearing a lot of talks
Congrats,
on where does he
Melo.
rank. Yep, congrats, good on him. Fun game to watch, man. That guy's
Absolutely.
really enjoy watching him play. So this is kind of a hard one because one of them's still in the NBA, but I feel like this is one of the more closer comparisons between active players. All time, who would you say, if the other one I'm referring to is active retired today, who would be higher all time list? Carmelo Anthony or Damian Lillard?
I think it's because Dame's been in such a small market. What's the question? Who's more all time great, like better player?
Yeah, like they rank the top 75 players or whatever. If Dame were to retire today, obviously he still probably has 3-4 more years left.
I think because Dame was in such a smaller market in Portland. I mean, I know Denver is as well, but I mean, Melo pretty much became. Like, I didn't watch basketball at that time, but I knew who Carmelo Anthony was, and I knew who did the Denver Nuggets were because of him.
Yeah.
When he went to New York, I mean, this guy became. We talked about it yesterday when we were all together. I mean, he was the leading scorer of the league. I mean, this
only scoring title came in New York.
Yeah, I mean, this guy was that, and I do think I loved Melo's game. I loved watching Melo, and I hate New York. I hate New York teams, but I really did like Melo a lot. I think I love Dame too. Please don't love Dame. Dame's a fucking dog. But I think because Dame's been in a smaller league, a smaller market in Portland, I think it goes to Melo. But who's the better player? Man, that's tough. I still give me Melo, but it's a lot closer than you think.
Yeah, I would love to disagree and have a little bit of a more complicated discussion, but I agree fairly easily. It's funny because their careers overlapped a bit, but I would almost kind of say they played in 2 different eras. And this current Dame era that he's playing in is a bit different than the Melo one, where scoring just wasn't quite so high. I mean, these games now are just unbelievable, and the game has changed so quickly in front of our eyes. Shout out Phoenix Suns, D'Antoni, Steve Nash teams, Stoudemire. I feel like that team really changed the game, and that's why we see. Yeah, that's why we see so many 120 to 125 games. Whereas in Melo's era, it's not to say it wasn't pretty high scoring, but he was putting up 28, 29 points at that time, which in the early 2000s was massive. I mean, that's if you go look at ESPN and you look at league leaders, and you could look at several years over and over again, there wasn't 7 or 8 guys averaging 30 like there is now. There was a few, and the 5th best scorer in the league averaged like 23 or 24 points. So just a bit different, I think, scoring. Maybe a little harder to come by, whether that be pace or defense. I'm not really sure. That's a topic for another day. But I think Melo's career was just more impressive overall. But definitely a Dame fan, and what he did this year coming back from injury was just fucking incredible. He had I'm big gamblers. I'm sure most of you know. I've never seen a guy have 35.5 point lines as frequently as Dame has. That's just disgusting to think about. But I mean, he earned it. It was very well warranted at the time when we were seeing it. But yeah, I do take Melo here fairly easily.
That was one of those, a little fun fact for everybody. It's one of those that I jumped on the train way too late. Everybody else was riding that Dame points train, and all of a sudden I jumped on, and He threw up 19 points, and I had him over 35 and a half. It was disgusting. Go ahead, Dylan.
So I mean, that's all I got. I am going to say one thing. I'm going to start doing a little bit of research. I've been pretty interested in Hall of Fame classes, so I think I'm going to throw in some this or that Hall of Fame classes editions in here. I think that'll be fun.
Love that.
I might save that for the off season, but we'll see. We talked about Damian Lillard. Is Portland trading their pick or trading Lillard? They got to do one or the other, right? Like,
I think Portland's trading the pick. I think they're going to go. I think they're going to hammer home with Dame. I think they're going to trade the pick. I think Anthony Simons is gone.
For who are they trading for?
I don't know. That's a very good question.
Well,
I would not
definitely
be
get on that.
I'll give you a quick. I believe Toronto is about to blow it up, and I think that they're going to trade for Siakam.
Yeah,
I just don't. I don't know if that makes you that much better in the West.
I agree with that too.
It's hard, man. You look around the league, and you just don't know. If it was me, if I was Portland, I would trade Dame and just start over fresh, but that's way easier said than done because Dame. I mean, if that comes off wrong, you look like a fucking idiot for trading Damian Lillard. So
I don't see a lot of players in the market that they could trade the third pick for to become contenders. It's just like sure, you might be able to get bottom 4 in the West or something. Yeah. We'd be trading him, getting a Siakam or something like that. But I don't see a way they can make him a contender. But
yeah.
But if you want to make them happy, you sell tickets, make money.
Yeah. Like I said, I think they'll double down on Dame one last time and see what they can get in the market there. I don't know what that market looks like. It's going to be this offseason is going to be so interesting, man. There's going to be a lot of teams looking for a lot of players. There's only so many to go around. I fucking love, let me say this before we get out of here. I fucking love that everyone's like, yeah, let's go get a 3-and-D guy. Like there's just 3-and-D guys all over the place. It's like, it seems like every single team is like, if we just get a 3-and-D guy, we're going to be fucking set next year. I'm like, every fucking team needs a 3-and-D guy.
Yeah, that's a fact. I'm super guilty of that. Hey, I have a this or that.
You got one? Go on, don't.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I wasn't this or that. It was just a question.
What?
It was.
What? Go ahead and ask your question.
What? Awful stuff we got going on over here. Go ahead, Dylan. Go ahead, Dylan.
That was so annoying, Michael. I didn't know what you were doing.
That's what you guys were doing. Go on, Dylan.
Is there any coaching updates that we should be talking about?
I'm going to get into that after the.
Okay.
That's what I was getting into before we got out of here.
Okay. We should probably prep a little better.
Yeah. All right. Listen to that. It's very simple. It's very traditional to what we started this as. Just pick a player, man. They're both active. They're both young. LaMelo Ball or Tyrese Halliburton?
I fucking love Tyrese Halliburton. So give me Hallie. But
nice.
That's a good question because their careers definitely kind of going in the same spot. Melo's probably a bit more mainstream. The real ones will know that Tyrese Halliburton is a fucking baller. He's got the ugliest fucking jump shot you ever did see. But give me Tyrese Halliburton, man.
Nice.
They both have ugly jump shots.
That's true. They really do.
Very true. The 2 ugliest point guard jump shots in the league.
Very true. I think Melo's is a bit. It fits him, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think Halliburton's is the weirdest.
It's ugly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dylan.
I probably have to go Halliburton too, just because I feel like he has more potential as a defender. I feel like they both are extreme studs when it comes to the offensive side of the ball. LaMelo does not show any signs of being good at defense, so I'll go Halliburton.
Which team's in a better spot?
Indiana.
Yeah, I think so too.
Charlotte.
I don't know. Damn, that's a tough
Bridges
one.
Coming back
about that one.
Bridges coming back.
I'm saying Charlotte just because they have the second pick. That's the only reason why I'm saying it.
I really like Indiana's trade chips, and I like their young guys that they already have in place. But that number 2 overall pick is definitely making a hard decision.
It's a good draft coming up. So
yeah, that's a tough one, man. I might have to take a week and think about that one. That's a good question.
I like what this Indiana team is doing. Bridges coming back to Charlotte's going to be interesting. I think that's not fully confirmed, but a lot of talk about.
That's official.
It's he put a bunch of stuff that he was on the phone with Jordan, and then there was I need to be better at this because I do love this stuff. There was a Charlotte Hornets reporter that brought it up that they were going to bring Bridges back for one more year. I'll be better.
Nice.
Why not? One thing that's really interesting to think about, like the Pistons following this too. There's those teams, the lower end, like the worst teams in the league this year, all of them were tanking, like just sitting players every chance they can. So you don't really know what they look like when their potential best players are on the court. Because like I feel like LaMelo barely played this year. Cade didn't play at all. But
yeah, we didn't tank. We got injured.
Yeah, sure. So many players miss pretty much a full season because of his shin. You're right.
Surgery on his shin. Surgery on that
fake
shit.
surgery.
That's made up.
That gets lost. It gets lost in the translation there. A lot of surgeries happen for the Pistons. We didn't tank like these other shameless ass fucking teams, and we get rewarded with the 5th overall pick. Unbelievable stuff, Adam. Unbelievable stuff. Coaching stuff we got going on. Monty Williams looked like he's going to be taking a year off. Mike Budenholzer looks like he's going to be taking a year off. They have not signed yet. The Bucks have signed the Toronto Raptors assistant, which blew my fucking mind because they have a guy as the assistant in Milwaukee who is Charles Lee, who is a very highly rated, sought after guy right now. Don't know why they did not promote him. That kind of blew my mind a bit. Who else? Ime's obviously going to the Rockets.
Nick Nurse.
Nick Nurse is still out there.
Last thing I saw, he's linked with Philly. Like, it seems like
I think they had a visit at some point.
Love
That's
that.
what I thought I saw today.
I fucking love the fact that Philadelphia is linked with 2 guys. Mike D'Antoni, who's going to make Joel Embiid run like fuck, and then they're linked with Nick Nurse, who's got damn near no off. He hones in on defense and he goes, "Hey, just figure it out on offense." And that Philly's got the worst, especially if they re-signed James, got the worst team just figured out on offense. I don't rate Nick Nurse. I feel like that's probably disrespectful on my end, but good luck to whoever gets them. Probably going to be the Pistons now. Pistons probably look like they're getting Kevin Ollie, to be serious. Look like Kevin Ollie coming in. He was at Georgetown, right, Dolan?
Oh, man. Yes.
Yeah. There we go. Dolan has no clue. Dylan, do you know it? Do you know where Kevin Ollie was from? UConn. It was UConn.
Yes.
It was UConn.
College coaches is not my thing outside of Jay Wright. Jay Wright, if you want to come to Philly, be my guest, my friend.
He ain't.
Stop
Why?
that. Stop that. We need to stay positive.
You have Nick Nurse. What else do you need?
Jay Wright's top 10
Doc Rivers
coach
getting a
alive.
job. You got to imagine
probably.
that guy takes a year off.
NBA loves recycling bums, so I'm pretty sure he gets another job.
Is Mark Jackson getting a job? Didn't he interview? Where did he interview at?
Milwaukee.
Jackson. Yeah, Milwaukee. It was Milwaukee. That's hilarious.
Who's open right now? We got Philly, Detroit. I think Kevin Ollie put up a bunch of stuff. I do think Kevin Ollie's going to Detroit, but Detroit's open right now.
Still
Philly's
Phoenix.
open right now. Phoenix is open right now. Toronto's still open.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah, I can't think of
there might be more. It's hard off the top of my head. Just like NBA free agency.
We haven't talked about this once. The fact that Jason Kidd has not been fired from Dallas is blowing my mind.
We talked about it. We talked about this. We talked about Jason Kidd a couple times on here. Actually, it blows my. Jason Kidd, Nets had a massive squad failure. Went to Milwaukee, great squad, one of the best players of all time, failure. Now he's sitting in Dallas. The fuck are we doing? Is there a bigger downgrade from Rick Carlisle to Jason Kidd? Jason Kidd's a terrible fucking coach, man. Don't give me that guy. Probably gonna come to the Pistons like everybody because we fucking stink, dude. All right, is that the show?
That's the show, boys.
I think so. Yeah.
We've hit exactly. We started about 5 minutes, and then we started really recording after that first 5. So we've hit about an hour. That's fucking awesome. Like I said, if you follow us on Twitter at the Post Up Boys, go give us a follow. If you join in on the Post Up Parlay, screenshot that thing, send it to us over on Twitter. Use the hashtag Post Up Parlay. If you enjoy the show, appreciate everybody listening. Go leave us a review on Apple or on Spotify, whichever one you are listening on. We would greatly appreciate it. Before we get out of here, quick plugs. Like I just told you, at the Post Up Boys is the show's Twitter. Come give that a follow. Dylan, where can the people find you at?
You could find me at Dilbon00 on Twitter. Shout out to my internet for not messing up tonight.
Yes.
Let's go.
Shout out Frog Wireless. Give us that sponsorship. Is it Frog Wireless or Cricket Wireless?
He's got Frog.
I think those are cell companies, but could be wrong.
Shout out Frog Wireless and Cricket Wireless. Shout out Dylan's network for not kicking out on us. All you Celtics fans, go follow Dylan because he's definitely going to need it regardless of outcome tomorrow. Big moment, Miami and Boston tomorrow. But we'll talk about that over on the Twitter. Go give us a follow. Dolan, where can everybody find you at?
at Ryan Props with a Z on the end on the Twitter.
And you can find me at Carefree Willis. Appreciate everybody listening. We'll see everybody next week. See ya.
Later.